This is part 2 of the SSIS integration packages overview. In the first section, we walk through NSLC integration services solution itself, and I walked you through the changes that were made to the product package. In this session, we're going to discuss the changes to the store package. So if I jump over back to the development server, I will show you the store package and go to the control flow so we can take a look at all the sequences. Now, this is the largest package. It has the most files. So if we take a look at the Connection Managers tab, we see there's a site contacts list. This is the administrative contacts, the managers of the stores. The site services. This is basically the services offered at that store, whether or not they have a walk-in cooler, whether or not they have a cold beer room, this kind of stuff. And then there's the actual site master, which contains the address information and a bunch of other things. Now, the one thing that we had changed is the store delivery dates is now a function within myNSLC.com. Whenever you add an item to your cart and go to the checkout process, it'll give you an idea of what the delivery dates, the next expected delivery date is for that store. So if we go to the database and step away from this for a moment and take a look at how stores are stored, if you go to the NSLC profiles database, you'll see underneath the tables that there is a store table and a store inventory table. So the store package doesn't deal with inventory. That's in the actual inventory package. So this is all about basically the metadata about a store. If we go to the columns list, we can see all the values that are part of a store, which include the name, the address, the city, all the address information, the opening and closing dates, closing times for each day of the week. This is the assistant manager first name and last name, so this is what gets updated by the information that comes in from the site contacts file. And then you can see below here listed the services that are updated by the site services file, which are retail product specialist, bottle your own wine, walk-in cold room, cold canned beer. Basically talks to what's offered by that store. Now, there was modifications made to this database for this project, which were to add in the delivery dates. So these are the expected delivery dates for the store. I think they usually go out about 2 weeks or so. And so these were added to the database. We also had to update the stored procedures as well. There is, if we go down to the programmability section, all the way to the bottom, there are 3 main stored procedures that this package relies on: the update store contacts, and update store services. And essentially, it's a one-to-one with each of the files. If we go back to the package, you'll notice that there is a data source for the site contacts, a data source for the site master file, and a data source for the site services file. And you can find these up here: site contacts, site master, and site services. And so again, we have a very similar approach in this package as we did in the product package, where we have one sequence that's all about validation and a second sequence that's all about communication with the database via stored procedures. So I won't dive in every single one of these flows, but essentially you can see here that very similar to the last product package, we do a check on whether or not the master file exists. If not, we send out an email. There's some transformation done to each of the 3 files to set them up and prepare the data so that it's easier to work with in terms of sending it to the transmitting it to the stored procedure so that we can update Commerce Server. And then there is the importing store data sequence, which runs, and the only one that we modified was the updating site master data. We didn't make any changes to the site's contact. That's just simply adding or updating the managers for the store. And then the site services, which just updates the services for the store. And if you're interested more in what site services are, I can actually go to the stored procedure here and show you how that works. SAP has something must be called a service code. I'm assuming this is a SAP type of a thing, but the service codes here are listed as 3 alphanumeric characters, and based on the value passed from the flat file, you can see what value is given to the service code here. So this is basically all the information that gets updated and set. So basically all of these are set up as flags or bits that basically have a 0 or a 1, so a true or a false. So if CBB is passed in, then cold bottled beer is offered. If RPS is passed in, then there is an on-site retail product specialist. And so you can get a sense for what's going on there. Same thing applies to the manager and how he gets updated or she gets updated. You see the manager first name and last name, and then the assistant manager first name and last name. It's a very simple stored procedures, nothing very complicated. And then there's the final one that deals with the site master. And as you can see, we've added the 4 delivery dates to the stored procedures so they get updated in the table. So returning to the package, the change that we made is inside of the data flow here. We go to the edit screen, and as you can see here, this is the list of all the successful rows of stores that are ready for processing. And this is the task here that executes the stored procedure. If we go into edit, we can figure out what stored procedure that is by going to component properties and take a look down here at the SQL command, and we see it's USP_update store, which is the stored procedure I just showed you. And each of these question marks, they correspond to a variable. That's just how you type it in. And then you go to the column mapping screen, which will basically figure out how many columns there are, and then allows you to do the mappings. So all of these mappings were already in place. We added 4 new fields to the file to be able to parse them from the file from SAP, and then we've also added the 4 parameters to the stored procedure, so you can see that mapped here. And once this runs, it will now update the delivery dates as well as the rest of the baseline information for a store.